Hey guys, it's Banished. I just wanted to make a quick video because I was starting to get really frustrated, and I was going to post this on the subreddit and just try to express how I feel and how I feel about third partying and why I think it's happening. And before we go any further, trust me, I'm not a Fortnite hater. I'm not one of those guys that just screams Epic is dying if I ever see it, with less than 100,000 viewers on Twitch. That's just not what I do. I'm a huge fan of Epic. I think that without question they are the best developer on the market. They do a great job of listening to their fans and listening to their audience and making changes when they don't like something. And like their competitor at the time when it first came out was PUBG, and what PUBG, in my opinion at least, what killed PUBG was the developer not listening to the community, not fixing things, and ultimately when they decided to come out with competitive PUBG, it was so boring to watch. So the main mechanic of Fortnite, rather, the best thing about Fortnite that separates it from other BR games is building. If you get bush wookie, jump from behind, double teamed, triple teamed, surprised, building is what keeps you alive. It is without a doubt the number one thing that separates it from really any BR game on the market. With the removal of bounce pads, C4, Tommy guns, LMGs, the nerf to the SMG damage, it was obvious that Fortnite was starting to go back towards the build meta. And I loved it. I was so excited when I saw that coming back, because I was really frustrated during the last season seeing that, it was just C4. There were several jokes, if you got in a build fight in this season, you were lucky, because it never happened. It was just all about blowing down buildings and spamming buildings. That's all it was. All of these items countered building. You getting outbuilt, bounce bad away. Getting outbuilt, spam until you tag them 1,000 times with 3 SMGs in your bag. And all of these were associated with lower skill items, and it was just frustrating. And yeah, you could use them skillfully, but for the most part, they were used to just blindly explode bases or spam through them. Anytime you have a game or a situation where someone can win a game or win an encounter because they were luckier than you by getting a particular item, if there's not a counter to that item that's just as accessible as that item, there's a fundamental flaw. And for the most part, it's always been base building, fall damage. If you build a base and you outbuild someone, the counter to it was knock the building down. So that's been the good black and white that's always been in Fortnite. Now, anytime you have a situation where people say, well, this item's overpowered. In every BR, you're going to have strong items that give you an advantage. That's the purpose of them. They're higher risk items, but, they have an advantage if you get them, and I don't have a problem with that. However, let's say you get knocked down, but then you're able to rebuild and heal from the damage you took, but all he's got to do is spam your base. It was really a problem, and Epic removing all these items was a phenomenal choice. And hats off to them. They're kicking ass. And then, of course, to top it all off, they nerfed the amount of rockets you could carry. They were really kicking ass at that, and I loved it. Now, if you go to any stream at all, without question, one of the number one things you're going to see complained about is third partying, after stream snipers. Now, third partying is essentially, for those who don't know, being shot from 1, 2, or 3 players while you're fighting someone else, like whether they're in the distance or they're just interfering in your fight. And I get that's what happened. It's always been a problem, but towards the middle of last season and on, and now this season, it's become significantly worse. And I cannot get into a game where this doesn't happen. And I watch other streamers, some of the bigger names, and they're having a problem with it as well. So you start asking yourself, why is this happening? Is it my playstyle? Is there something I'm doing wrong? And I think, and I stress, I think I figured it out. In my opinion, like I said, this has always been an issue, but what's changed is how many mobility items are in the game. Think about it. You got rifts to go, the little cube thingies, the little jump pad things next to the cubes. You have grappling guns, the original jump pads themselves, your ice traps when you can just go downhill on ramps. You have the ATK carts, the four-wheeler, the floating island, which is essentially just a free jump pad. And then, of course, you have your impulse grenades. On top of that, you have the grappling gun. So you think about all of that. Now, if you think that's not a problem, then I don't know what to say, but it's a huge problem. And why is it a bad thing, you ask? Well, think about it this way. What do you do when you hear gunshots? You move towards the gunshots. Assuming you're not scared, you actually want to get the kills and the loot, right? And this is what happens in any other BR game. It's completely normal. Now, unless you're really close to that fight, the time it takes you a moment to get there. Now, you could use pre-existing items like jump pads, which, If they're just aiming to get kills, then that's something they would do. But for the most part, most people are going to save that jump pad for scenarios when it's necessary. Whether it is to save their life or win high ground. But when you give 3 to 4, 5, 6 people the opportunity to, within seconds, travel a great distance across the map towards gunshots, it creates these little pools of chaos throughout the map. Now, normally you're going to have people traveling in, further into the circle, and there's going to be little sections of fights here and there, but it's not going to be, it might be 1, 2, or 3 instead of 5, 6, or 7. When you have these 5, 6, or 7, it's harder to maintain the fluidity of that particular game. These pools, they overwhelm people, they frustrate people, and yes, the good players can sometimes win out, but if they do, they're going to limp away. They're going to be hurt. They're going to be maybe lower on mats. They might not have enough heals, or what heals they did get, it's not going to get them back to full life. And I've watched even the best players die to this all the time, and I see how frustrating it is for them. Now, Epic obviously wants everyone to have the same options for mobility. They don't want, just the good players to reign supreme in this game. And hats off to them. You got to cater to your entire audience the best way that you can. But think about it this way: if the best players in the world are dying to this, it's got to be 100 times worse for the less than average player, right? You shouldn't give items that are constantly adding RNG. It's just, you get into a fight, someone's going to jump on you. You get into a fight, someone's going to jump on you. It's always that fear. Now, you don't want the game dominated only by the best players. You want everyone to have fun. It can't be fun if you're dying constantly. You should be able to, Epic's right, you should be able to use the items to engage or disengage. Everybody shouldn't use mobility items to engage and get kills. They should be able to use them to get away. But it used to be, the beauty of BR was to look left, look right, check over the ridge, play it safe, kind of use some natural cover, make a bunch of decisions that give you that thrill, that little bit of nervousness that you got in VR games. But now, you're more worried about looking up to see who's flying in on you. It's just frustrating, and it's a problem. Think about it this way. If you know that, if your idea behind the mobility is to increase the pace of the game, it's actually kind of having the opposite effect. It's creating clusters of chaos. But then the rest of the people are basing up because they know if they engage in a fight, 3 people are going to be waiting to jump on them. You can call it smart, you can call it whatever you want, but don't call it fun, because it's not fun. It's not fun, getting into a fight and then dying immediately because someone capitalized on it. Yeah, that can happen, but it shouldn't happen every fight. It should not happen in every fight you're in the game. I mean, you engage on someone, they rift away. Fine, then mobility item. You wasted all those mats spent trying to kill them. Now, do I chase them and hope to get the kill and maybe recuperate some of the mats that I lost? But that might put me in a worse position if I chase them, or do I just stay here and refarm up mats? Problem is, you made a whole bunch of noise, now 3 people are already moving on you. You don't even have time to make the best decision, right? Or you engage on someone and they turtle, and and you can outbuild them, but you can't kill them because they're just turtling up in a base. But the SMGs aren't doing enough damage to really get through the building. You don't have C4. You're spending a lot of ammo and a lot of time and a lot of mats. You're wasting a lot of time, and of course, all that noise you're making is drawing in players. Another problem. Or you could outbuild someone. You could get high ground and get third party, but you manage to defend it. But you're a little injured. And you're thinking, no big deal, I still have high ground. He has travel time. The guy that's third partying, he's got travel time. He's got to come to me. Nope. He's got a grappling hook, and while you're healing, he grappling hooks on top of your base, and boop, right in the face. It's frustrating. Or, think about it this way. You could get outbuilt, and you're thinking, man, he's a better player. I can't beat this guy in building. Congrats to him. Chance of, my win condition is knocking the base down. I could still do that. So you made the better decision. You knocked him down before he could react, but it doesn't matter. Now his glider can reopen. And because he already has high ground, he can glide, maybe, 100 feet away and land on top of a building between you and the circle. And now, because of that feature, just because you weren't as good of a builder as him, you're screwed. Now, I know that Epic said that it's a temporary test. I know that this is not something guaranteed to stay, but think about it this way. It kind of gives you an idea where their mentality is. I think they're moving too quickly forward and not focusing on that they might be hurting the integrity of their game. So these features that they keep adding are just increasing the frustration I have playing the game, and I know I can't be the only one. I get it. There's going to be a little bit of RNG with any BR game. I get it. But let's say you engage. Let's say you get the kill. Then you get third-partied, and you get that kill too, and things are going well. But you spend a lot of mats. A third person shows up, but thanks to his little floating thing, his glider, because he's been sitting on top of the floating island for 12 minutes watching you, You bail out. You're like, fine, I'll use my jump pad. I'll bail out, right? He jumps over to you, and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to land before him. I'm going to post up, but I'm going to have to react quickly. I'm going to just build a quick little base and shoot him as he's trying to get up to me. He might try to land on top of me. So you're not thinking about, well, I should probably, build around a complete one-by-one around myself in case I get shot in the back. You're trying to react quickly. But no, because someone else is on the island, and they glided to the mountain behind you, and you didn't see it, because he didn't have to waste mats getting up to that mountain, and he just shoots you in the butt, and you're dead. There's so many negative conditions that are happening in the game, and it's making it less and less fun. And I love you, Epic. I really do. Like I said, PUBG failed to not listening to their community. You do a great job of listening to your community, but especially from the competitive side, if you watch the last skirmish, second to last circle or whatever it was, you saw 20 people floating in the air at one time. Everyone's just floating around. Buildings being taken out of the game, and when they are building, they're just turtling up. It was boring, and granted it was laggy, but that's a whole different story. It was chaos, but it wasn't fun to watch. Chaos should be fun. So all I'm asking is I hope other people feel the same way I do. Hopefully that I'm not just crazy. But let me know what you think in the comments. Again, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I hope y'all enjoyed. Thank you so much.